Magnifying glass tilted right. Chapter 13, the final layer, understanding the psychopath's core. Chapter 13 works like a psychological conclusion to the book. After hearing multiple interviews with serial killers, rapists, and violent psychopaths, this chapter brings everything together. It focuses on one key idea: what truly makes a psychopath different from a normal human being. This chapter shifts from storytelling to deeper psychological analysis. Barry D. reflects on what he learned from direct conversations with dangerous offenders and what patterns repeatedly appeared. 1. The mask of sanity. One of the strongest themes in Chapter 13 is the idea of the mask. Psychopaths can appear charming, intelligent, funny, calm, respectable. They do not look crazy. They often look normal, even impressive. This is what makes them dangerous. Key insight: psychopaths are not usually out-of-control monsters. They are controlled, calculated, and aware. They know what people expect emotionally, what facial expressions to display, what words to use, when to act vulnerable. But it is an act. Behind that mask, no guilt, no empathy, no genuine remorse. 2. The absence of empathy. Barry D. highlights something chilling. When psychopaths describe their crimes, they often talk in flat tones, show no emotional reaction, focus on themselves, not victims. For example, instead of saying, "I hurt her," they might say, "She caused the situation. Things got out of control. It just happened." The language avoids responsibility. What's missing? Emotional connection, moral conflict, regret. This emotional emptiness is central to psychopathy. 3. Control and power. Chapter 13 emphasizes that for many psychopaths, it is not just about violence. It is about power. They feel powerful when others are afraid. They manipulate someone. They control life and death. They deceive successfully. Power gives them stimulation. Psychopaths often describe crime as exciting, thrilling, a rush. They do not experience fear the way others do. Their nervous systems respond differently. 4. Manipulation as a lifestyle. Barry D. explains that psychopaths do not only manipulate during crimes. They manipulate family, friends, police, interviewers, prison staff. Even during interviews, some tried to charm the author, control the direction of the conversation, create sympathy. They constantly test psychological dominance. 5. Intelligence versus cunning. A powerful distinction made in this chapter. Psychopaths are not always highly intelligent in academic terms, but they are socially cunning. They read weakness quickly, identify emotional vulnerabilities, exploit kindness, exploit trust. They study human behavior instinctively. 6. The psychopath's view of morality. One of the most disturbing realizations. Psychopaths understand society's rules. They simply do not care. They know murder is wrong, rape is wrong, manipulation is wrong, but morality feels like a rule book written for others. They operate with a personal rule. If I can get away with it, it works. There is no internal moral compass. 7. Childhood factors, nature versus nurture. Chapter 13 revisits a big debate. Are psychopaths born or made? From the interviews, some had abusive childhoods. Some had neglect. Some had normal upbringings. Barry D. suggests psychopathy is likely a mix of biological wiring, early trauma, personality development. But trauma alone does not create psychopathy. Many abused children grow up compassionate. Psychopathy seems tied to brain differences, especially in emotional processing areas. 8. Why they kill again. A key question addressed. Why don't they stop? Because the thrill fades. They need stronger stimulation. They feel superior. They lack fear of consequences. Punishment does not produce emotional reform. Prison may restrict behavior, but it rarely creates remorse. 9. Can psychopaths change? Chapter 13 takes a realistic tone. The honest answer: change is extremely rare. Why? Because therapy requires self-reflection, guilt, emotional awareness. Psychopaths lack these foundations. Some may learn to imitate remorse, behave strategically, but deep personality change is uncommon. The author's personal reflection. Barry D. reflects on the psychological toll of speaking to such individuals. He describes the emotional coldness in interview rooms, the unsettling calmness of killers, the chilling normality. One powerful realization: psychopaths do not look like monsters. They look like people you might meet daily. That is what makes awareness important. 1 warning signs highlighted in the chapter. Chapter 13 indirectly summarizes warning signs of psychopathic personalities. Superficial charm, pathological lying, lack of empathy, no guilt, manipulative behavior, blame shifting, impulsivity, enjoyment of dominance. These traits are not about occasional selfishness. They are persistent patterns. 2. The core conclusion. The final psychological message of Chapter 13. A psychopath is defined not by violence alone, but by emotional emptiness combined with manipulation. Violence is an outcome. The core is emotional depth, lack of conscience, need for power, absence of fear. They see people as objects, tools, entertainment, obstacles, not as humans. Headphone for your audiobook understanding. Since you are creating audiobook thumbnails and summaries, here is a strong takeaway line you can use in your video. Chapter 13 reveals that the most terrifying thing about a psychopath is not their violence, it is their emotional emptiness. That line captures the theme powerfully. Brain final psychological insight. After all interviews, Barry D's central realization is: psychopathy is not madness. It is a personality structure. It is organized, calculated, emotionally cold, and often hidden behind a smile.